sir, for people who don't follow these things closely, how significant is today's decision?
Who doesn't follow these things closely? What is wrong with those people? This is important stuff. And actually, it is really important stuff. And one of the reasons council had such a debate about it today was, one member of council sort of scoffed and said, the difference between the options is not that much money, it's just $400 million. $400 million would be the second or third largest public works project we've ever done. And that was the difference between option 1 and option 4, or option A and option B. So it's really important that we have a good discussion about this. And what we're trying to do is balance off two things. Balance off what is the best thing, what is the right thing, and what can we afford? And are we in a position where we say we can only build the best thing, and if we don't have the money to do it, then we'll put the thing on hold until we have the money to do it? Or are we in a position to say, well, maybe we build the second best thing, which matches the amount of money we have? That's actually a very valid debate for council to have, and I was happy to hear council starting to have that discussion today.
How uncertain is it that the province is going to give the city what it needs to get the whole thing going?
Oh, I'm quite certain the province will come to the table. I think they understand the importance of this project. They understand why this project matters to the future Alberta that they're trying to build. But the fact remains they're not at the table yet. And as we look at these numbers, we need a sense of what the global budget for the whole thing is, because we have $1.5 billion over 30 years from the City of Calgary. We have a commitment of $1.53 billion from the federal government and a question mark from the provincial government. So if the province matches the other two parties, I hope they'll come in with more, but if they match the other two parties, that puts us just over $4.5 billion, including financing. That's probably not enough to build the whole project. So what do we do? Well, I'm going to continue to fight for more money, but I'm also going to make sure that our project is flexible and resilient so that we can move forward with it.
Is this why we're starting to hear this thing maybe staged or broken into bits?
That's always been on the table. That's always been an option. Quite frankly, especially on the southeast portion of the line, you need to build a huge chunk of it before you start to get real ridership. And on the north central portion of the line, similarly, if you're not getting to North Point, you're really missing out on a bunch of the ridership. So we have to be very, very thoughtful about how we move forward on this.
I had a question for you about the carbon tax.
Did you have anything on LRT? Okay.
So $6 million is this additional cost due to the province's carbon levy. Is that going to throw a wrench into the budget for 2017, or where's that going to come from?
No, not for 17. The budget forecasts that we have looked at for 17, which is the tax freeze with a 1.5% rebate for 17, incorporates that for 17. It does not incorporate it for 18 or for years going forward. And in particular, it doesn't incorporate what we heard from the federal government, that it'll be $50 by 2020. This is a big number. $50, if we just do the real back of the envelope math, might be 2% of property taxes. And as I've said before, it is not good taxation policy for one order of government to tax another order of government, because that means that tax gets passed on to the same people who are paying the tax out of their own pocket in either higher property taxes, higher user fees like transit fares, or lower services. If the federal or provincial governments need that revenue, tax people directly. Don't do it through the back door, through municipal governments.
So you're going to AUMA, the conference in Edmonton.
I am.
Will you be chatting about this with somebody?
Everybody who will listen.
Does that include the Premier?
I don't have anything set up with her, but I'm sure she will be speaking to AUMA. She always does, and I'm sure she will hear an earful on this issue from municipal governments.
And to be clear, are you saying municipalities should be exempt, or we need some help?
Rebate would be fine. For example, we don't pay GST. We get a rebate on that from the federal government on the GST we pay on goods and services, and I can't see why the provincial government wouldn't follow a similar pattern.